Let's talk about millennial stereotypes. Millennials are often stereotyped as lazy and entitled. But how does growing up with immigrant parents really prove that wrong? So this is my little kind of fun little segment on why millennial stereotypes aren't true for those who grew up with immigrant parents, from my lens as a Chinese Canadian growing up in the 90s. I do love my avocados though. I was born in the year of the Chernobyl disaster. So for those who don't know a lick of history, it's 1986. I'm a millennial, and I'm proud to be part of an often misunderstood generation. Between the start of the 80s, usually around 81, 82, to the mid-90s, like 95, 96, is where it's at, y'all. And perhaps because I'm married with kids that sometimes folks assume I'm not part of this generation. But I often have older people complain to me about the lazy, entitled millennials that they work with, and they'll scoff and grunt, "Ugh, it's because they're millennials." And then coupled with like a look of disgust, assuming that I'm gonna nod and agree with what they're saying. Like instead I wanna respond flatly, "I'm a millennial." But instead, I prefer to wait and see what other nonsensical bullshit that comes out, that spews out of their mouth, and maybe they'll start making other stereotypes that annoy me. Like, you know, as a short Asian female, there's lots they can choose from. Just attack, come on. I decided to kind of do a quick search on ye old Google to see what the most frustrating stereotypes I could find about millennials, and just tell you why they're not true for me, from my lens as a Chinese Canadian who grew up with immigrant parents. So here we go. In my best attempt as a maniacal Joker like voice. So number one, millennials expect rewards for every little thing they do because they were raised in a world of handouts and participation trophies. Okay, so really? Like, really? This made me lol IRL, like, which means laugh out loud in real life, okay? Like, I had to spell that out for the ancient people. Just ask anyone who can relate to that high expectations Asian dad meme. I actually used one of those memes as my picture for a blog post, and that's actually my most popular blog post. What they don't tell you about Asian parent expectations. Check it out, my blog post. For instance, you know, you see the picture of his face with the green background, and it's like, Facebook? Why don't you Facebook and study? You know, right? I don't know if that's like accent is that, but anyway. Oh boy, do I wish I had an actual handout or a participation trophy. Or how about just a good job? I'm proud of you. Right? When I went to school, there were no participation trophies. When our basketball team lost, we lost. And the coach gave us kind of like this, like, okay, good try, good pat on the back, and then just tell us that we practice more, and that was pretty much it. Like he'll just be like, yeah, we'll get the next one. I remember the time I competed in the 100-meter dash, and I came in first. Like I was like, oh yay! But it didn't mean I made it to the finals because, you know, it was based on my time compared to a bunch of other students across the city, and I was devastated. I didn't make the cut. And it wasn't like I was going to come home to a participation trophy. I mean, a participation party that my parents would throw me. No, like, it's not to celebrate, like, making it first, even though I didn't make it to the finals. Because growing up, my parents were stone-faced. Whether I got straight A's, finished at the top of my class, won piano competitions, awarded scholarships to university, or saved enough money from working part-time to pay for my own driving lessons, they were, like, rarely impressed. It was like, yep. Of course you'll get top marks, awards, and work hard for, you know, to pay for your things. We raised you. We expect nothing else, nothing less. And so in the few times that they were impressed, their reactions were very subtle, and I had to like really pay attention. So like recently I appeared on the Vancouver Chinese news, so it's the Fairchild TV news, to talk about the recent racism that's surfaced because of COVID. And my book had to deal with Asian parents. If you haven't checked that out, there's a link, someonesleeve.com/books. Instead of saying they were proud, right? My parents filmed their TV when the segment was live, and they sent me the video, and it was like, you know, like totally rearranged. Like my face was like this, you know. No words, no caption, just the video, like in their message. And that was it. And then the next time we had family dinner, I overheard my dad ask my sister, "Hey, did you see your sister on TV?" And so no, I do not expect a reward for every little thing I do, because I did not grow up in a world where there were participation trophies and handouts. But it's actually the subtle acts of appreciation that matter to me, not big rewards. Number 2, millennials can't afford to buy homes because they're spending too much money YOLOing and FOMOing. Not true. My mom taught me what a bank account, saving money, earning interest was, and what it meant when I was like barely 8 years old. Okay, it was imagine this, 1994, and I've got $20 bills of red pocket money. Okay, so like from Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year in my hands, eagerly waiting to spend it on some candy and some plastic toys. Good old fun, right? I'm holding this, and she explains to me, okay, you can use this now and buy whatever you want, but it'll be gone until next Lunar New Year. So it's a whole year from now, 360 days. Or you can put this in a bank account and they'll pay you a little bit of money every month just for you putting it there. And you don't have to do anything. You just don't have to do anything. You just have to wait and you can make money. You can take your money out whenever you want. And so I was like, So the following day, my mom and I go to the bank and I opened up my first savings account. That $400, which I never took out to buy any plastic toys or candy, contributed to the down payment of my first home that I purchased in my mid-20s. And I've been working since I was 14 years old, first as a French and math tutor, then as a barista all throughout high school. Then I worked throughout my undergrad studies and my grad studies, always working. The first time I never had a paycheck in every 2 weeks was when I went on maternity leave. That's how long I've been working. Saving money is the bread and butter of what my parents taught me, and it's paid dividends over the years, not just literally, obviously, but figuratively. I mean, my parents raised me to be frugal, and they raised me to be resourceful with a waste not, want not mentality, and survival, making ends meet, and providing food and shelter were what my parents focused on. They believed in owning your home, because what you own is yours to keep and do as you please. Like whether you flip it and invest it for another property, invest a profit into another property, rent it out for passive income, or pass it on to your kids, or live in it till you die, buying a home is where you can start creating generational wealth. And because it means you've put your roots down. Once you've put your roots down, your tree can only grow bigger for the next generations. And my parents wanted their kids to have it better than them, and to struggle less, to not worry about money as much as they did. And owning a home is like a conservative approach to preserving your assets. My parents preached on and on and on about how much mortgage they were paying every month. And, I remember, and it was how many years they still had left in their mortgage. And I remember the day they made their last payment, and they were overjoyed, but still stone-faced. I remember at family dinner that night, they celebrated in the stereotypical Asian parents manner. It was like dinner and we're just about to start, and they casually announced, "Oh, so we really own this home now, this house." And then dinner resumed as normal. So no, I'm not YOLOing my money and FOMOing my money on expensive trips, designer handbags, Louboutin, luxury cars, and weekly salon trips. No, I'm not. I'm making my payments like a responsible adult, like a peak adult. Peak adulting. I don't know if that's a new term. So stay tuned for the next part. I'll talk a few more. But let me know what your thoughts are on millennial stereotypes, whether they're true or not for you.